Podcast starts now. What's up, everybody? You're listening to StraightioLab live 2 weeks ago from New York City.
I almost feel like we should talk about the fact that you are here for your wedding more because we didn't talk about it in the previous episode. Or am I being so literal and we need to like let go and let ideas come to us?
No, we can talk about it
There's
more.
something about this moment being captured on tape where I'm like, you'll want to re-listen to this one day.
You know, this is how I felt after Trump was elected the second time.
You flew in yesterday.
I flew in yesterday.
And today is Tuesday and you're getting married on Saturday.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Queen?
I feel normal. I'm feeling like I do feel a bit like it's a solo show, and I'm like, oh God. Like there's just like logistics that are sort of unknown until the day of, where you're like, like what if someone weird shows up and they like,
well, we've had a couple of close calls, folks.
and or like what if it's really windy and like something blows away or I don't know what I'm like. There's like all these little things, but I'm mostly just excited. I think it'll be fun. Yeah, I think because, I don't know if you felt this way, because we've been together so long, it doesn't feel like similarly to how we were talking about like how every gig on earth is open. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, is this more important or less important? There's something about being together for so long where it doesn't feel like, fuck it, we're taking a leap. Like it just feels like, oh, we're sort of like doing we're just like labeling it properly.
So this is actually similar to my sort of theory about how there are two ways to come out. One is to come out when you're still figuring it out because you need support. And one is to first fully figure out who you are and be like, and now it's time for me to make my debut.
Wow, what did you do?
I did the latter.
Me too.
Yes, we've talked about this, but it's like, I remember when I came out to my parents, they were hurt that I hadn't done it earlier because they were like, did you think we wouldn't be supportive? Like, did we create an environment that made you think you couldn't tell us? And I was like, no, I just didn't want it to be at all a conversation. I wanted to first fully like have a boyfriend, know exactly who I was and what I wanted to tell you when you asked me what the deal was, and then do it. Yeah. And I think for some people, especially some straight people, marriage is almost like them taking a leap and being like, let's hope this works, and jumping off of the cliff. And I think especially for gay guys getting married in their 30s, it's sort of like, okay, what else? Let's get married.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When it comes to vows, what level of humor are you working with? What level is appropriate? What level is inappropriate? I don't know.
Should we bring in our guest to join us in chatting about this?
Yes. Please welcome back to the podcast, Devon Walker.
Hey, what's up? I wasn't sure if I was allowed to talk.
You actually weren't, but you seemed so eager that I said...
Well, I just couldn't. I was like, I'm sitting here. I was like, am I waiting for the... And also, Sam looked over here a couple of times.
This happens a lot. This happens a lot.
This is something we can't help, but we
want to be affirmed, but we don't want the guest to... It's like, we want you...
That's like Sam kept looking over being like...
I'm like, I gotta get him.
We were just talking actually about the power of nodding and how it can actually be almost condescending. Like if you're especially in a business context, let's say you're like pitching something, you're like, so it's about a gay guy, and then the exec is like dramatically nodding, and you're like, okay. But that's ultimately what we want. When we're doing our intro, we want someone to be so aggressively supportive, but also silent. Yeah, exactly. Like holding a sign that's like, yay!
I like that.
Yeah.
That's funny. No, it's actually so pitiful. When a guest is like really like, I'm like, we got this.
The worst, of course, is when we're on Zoom and someone's fully just on their phone.
Oh yeah, they're just
it's like, have some respect, please.
John really clipping his nails. Being like,
oh my God, did he clip his nails?
Yes, famously.
I will say I do that every time I have therapy. That's my time.
You clipping your nails?
I had therapy earlier today, and that's my clipping my nails time.
Wow.
I do FaceTime therapy, and that's. So, I hope she's not disrespected. I never even considered that she would be until right now.
Here's a question for you.
Part of the problem.
What?
Maybe she thinks you're stimming.
Makes you do FaceTime therapy in a post-COVID world?
Great question.
My therapist lives in Texas.
Oh.
Yeah, she's grandfathered in from
literally like childhood?
Not from childhood. But you think I had a childhood therapist?
Well, I'm just like, when was the last time you lived in Texas?
2018.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was so much more recent than I expected.
Oh, yeah. Do I just feel like I've been here for longer?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Did you move to New York in 2018?
Yeah.
That's shocking to me.
Why?
I was sure you were here at least 2016.
No. I was in Austin, Texas. I only lived in Central Texas for my whole life until 2018.
So you have had the same therapist since before 2018?
She left for a little bit. You know when you realize you like really don't know anything about your therapist's life?
Yeah.
Like I had this moment because I had her in 2018. Then I moved here. Then I was too broke to afford therapy. So then we stopped seeing each other. And then we started back like during the pandemic. I was like, I gotta go back to therapy. It'd been like a year and a half. I was like, it's time. And I like had a better like job situation. I had my Comedy Central money.
Shout out.
So I was like, yo.
Your guys' Comedy Central era. Now that was iconic.
That was awesome.
That was legendary. That was like
crazy.
It was so insane. It was.
It's like I think of that era the way people talk about like 90s, 80s New York. Like anything was possible.
What a free for all.
Truly. Also, like that was my first job in comedy. That was my first like full time.
That was my first full time job for sure. That was when I was like, okay, I have income.
Yeah, like I have like a salary.
Yeah.
And
that felt good.
It was incredible. That was an incredible time. It was the first time since I'd moved to New York that I could like buy a plane ticket somewhere and it didn't ruin my life financially.
Yeah.
And of course there was nowhere to go.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I was like, where are you flying to?
Yeah.
Texas?
I mean, I
to see your therapist?
I did fly to Texas. But anyway, my therapist, I started back with her during 2020. And then I remember having a conversation with her where she was just like, hey, I actually need to go on maternity leave. She goes, I'm about to have my second child. And I said, I didn't know you were pregnant right now, one. And I didn't know you had a first kid. Much less a second. I really don't know anything about you.
This is an under-discussed element of remote work in general that is actually shocking. The way you don't know that people are pregnant.
Had no clue.
Are you supposed to know about your therapist's life?
I don't know. I mean, I think different people have like different relationships with it. I've talked to people who like really seem to know like, oh yeah, my like therapist went on vacation here and like, you know, she recommended this hotel or whatever. But like my therapist is like kind of, although I will say, and I can't, man, I don't want to put too much for her business out here. But like one time my therapist was just like, yeah, like I was telling her about some feelings that I was having about like something. And she goes, yeah, you know, I understand the way that kind of thing can look. I was basically talking about like being around like really rich people for the first time and like just not really knowing how to acclimate to that. And she was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. She goes, my husband's family founded
Wait, that's so funny.
I was like, oh.
That is really amazing.
It's 100%.
My husband's family founded.
That's right.
Damn.
But also, obviously, like, yes, she's relating to you.
Yes.
But it is different to marry into, like, you're talking about feeling like an outsider in a situation where people have more money than you.
Yeah.
That's different than marrying into that generational wealth. It's like she actually now is a rich woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is like, I'm sorry, but why work?
I mean, I think she just. I mean, because it's like you don't want to just sit at home.
You don't want to just. Sit.
You don't want to. You don't want to be. You got to have your own.
You would not stop working if you married the.
No, that's true, but my work would be so much more glamorous.
What do you think your work would look like in that?
Well, it would literally be like I would like still do like comedy, but it would be like I wouldn't ever need to be successful in this way. That would be like I'm throwing the big event at like the thing.
Oh, I would only be doing Joe's Pub. I would be like, I don't need to appeal to anyone outside of Manhattan.
Yeah, it would allow you to be your freest self.
Yeah, creatively.
You're like, it doesn't matter. Kind of, it's like being like a rich woman who starts like a lotion line.
Exactly. You would go boutique.
That was really beautiful. The way that the inflection of the enunciation.
You would embrace having a boutique rather than having a what's it called when someone's like franchise rather than having a franchise.
I mean, the short films I'd put out.
Yes, short films.
Like, truly. We'd be like, baby, I need $25,000 because I got a story to tell.
Short films, an off-Broadway run you would fund yourself easily.
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
I would quite frankly fund the art. The Lincoln Center would be renamed the George Center. Let's just say that.
Okay, so you're marrying like a Rockefeller.
not
I'm sorry.
Rockefeller?
Is Rockefeller.
No, you're right. It's the same. You're right. It's the same type of. Maybe I think I can't even quantify what that means.
Yeah.
Being in a family like that.
I love that because it's like a joke that I feel like I used to make all the time. Be like, and my father, the CEO of BP, like,
yeah.
and it's like,
no, that is someone.
it's someone real that exists for someone.
And he's married to someone.
Wow.
What's I remember I went to middle school with this girl. I guess I won't say what the company was. I'll say it and we'll bleep it. But
I guess, should we bleep mine too? I'm like,
but here's the thing. Saw that was her last name. I was like, oh, this girl's probably so rich.
Mm-hmm.
And I was operating under that assumption the entire time. Later on, many years later, I did a Google. It turns out her side of the family somehow was like not the part that got the money. So this entire time I was treating her like this spoiled rich girl.
Yeah.
She was like fighting for her life.
Yeah.
That's tough.
And is now like
she's
struggling
working 3
writer.
jobs.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And the entire time I was like, shut up, bitch. Like, why are you speaking up in class? Like, you do not relate to that character in that novel. Like, no one cares what you have to say. And in fact, it's actually even worse, I think, to have had access to wealth and then lost it because you like know what you're missing.
You've seen that other side.
Damn.
Jesus, that's brutal.
Yeah, and that's actually the plot of Schitt's Creek, my favorite television series.
Okay, back to my original question.
Yes.
How much humor is allowed in vows?
I'm like, I think it's not about how much
yours was like, you went full sincere.
I had some laugh. Wow. I had some laugh.
Sam was like, yo, the thing about you is that you didn't even feel the need to be funny, not even a little bit.
I think
there was not even a drop.
What Sam was referring to is that it ended on sincerity rather than ending on a punchline. I tried to have
to end on sincerity.
Yeah. But I think my general answer to you would be basically there has to be at least a moment of genuine sincerity. Yeah. And then around that, you can have as much humor as possible. But what you can't do is not have any sincerity.
Of course. Because I want some sincerity.
Yes.
But I am worried about it coming off as like, and that's when I knew I was gay. Like, I'm worried about like landing in cliches, as you were talking about, in a way that I'm scared of.
I feel like a wedding's a really fine time to land in cliches.
Okay.
I think there's
You're not going to reinvent the wheel.
You know what I mean? I think there's only so many ways to tell someone that you love them.
I agree with you, but the thing is, like, there are some cliches that are so unforgivable.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
You
like
list some so I don't say them.
My person.
Oh, don't
like anything
don't
about
that.
love at first sight. Like anything about like. I'm trying to think. Like,
you have taste. You're not gonna. You're not gonna land.
Of course. I'm scared,
yeah, you're not gonna. It's because cliche doesn't come naturally to you.
Right.
Other people have to fight cliche. Like you don't have to fight cliche.
Sure.
I think that for many people that's the instinct is to go to cliche. So then you have to train yourself out of it. But I think that's not going to be an issue for you.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna find it. Tonight I'm really gonna hunker down and get to writing.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something.
I think one way to maybe avoid cliche, and I think I tried to do this when I did mine, is like. There's an instinct to think about the past because it's like you have this instinct to be like, how did we meet? When did I know? What were the best moments in our relationship? And there should obviously be some of that, but it actually is much more interesting to talk about like how you envision the future.
Interesting.
And I think that there are fewer cliches. I mean, unless you literally go like till death do us part. I think there are fewer cliches when you're like imagining the future than there are when you're like on our first date, when you ordered the bolognese, I knew you were the one for me.
Sure.
Definitely don't say it like that.
Well, that's
definitely don't.
When I'm imagining speaking, all I can hear is like fake voice. It's being like, Misha, you are random.
One of my favorite cliches is. Remind me what's your middle name?
Thompson.
One of my favorite cliches is okay.
Name.
Get ready. This is me doing my vows. Samuel Thompson Taggart. Starting with the full name,
yes,
is so funny.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things that you're doing it almost to imply intimacy, and yet you are calling someone by their legal name. So it is distancing.
Name,
it's so crazy.
You know what? The biggest cliche that I find is being like, and someone who will always split an omelet with me at 3 a.m, like that type of thing. Like,
I
being like,
promise
"You're so
to always water the plants, but not overwater.
That's it.
That's true. Well, that's not.
But
not on
the thing is,
docket.
you will have to do one specific thing like that. That's like the entire joke is the specificity of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I'll always eat the rice if you eat the beans.
exactly. Yes. Yeah.
It is. It's that in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's a way in which at some point everything starts feeling like a cliche, and you will get to that point.
Yep.
I'm sorry to tell you, you will at some point you will pass it, but you will get to that point where like, oh no, everything I'm thinking sounds like it's from a rom-com.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take for you?
I think you have like initial writer's block, and then it sort of will pour out of you.
Okay.
And I actually think you should do it, or I did it like almost free writing style, where I was like, it was almost like one run-on sentence. Because it is like a spoken thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, it doesn't have to be like a 5-paragraph essay.
Right.
But I have faith.
In conclusion.
Wait, can I ask you who is officiating? Is there a comedian officiating?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, baby. The number one comedian.
Who is it?
Julio.
Interesting.
Because he was there the night we met. I was at Metropolitan Gay Bar with Julio when I met Misha.
The Metropolitan Gay Bar.
I actually told my sister, she was like, where's Sam's wedding? I was like, Metropolitan. And we had this entire conversation. Then I realized she thought it was at the Met Museum. She was like, that is so cool. Like, how did you get that venue?
I will say on the invites, Misha put like Metropolitan and Prince's Gay Bar. And I was like, why did you put it like that? And
I hadn't thought about this.
Someone coming from out of town will do that.
I didn't even think about that. I just went to a comedian wedding that was also officiated by a comedian. I went to my buddy Andrew Dismukes got married to his longtime girlfriend.
Allie.
Yeah, you guys know Allie. You guys know Andrew and Allie.
Who officiated?
It was a guy, he's an Austin comedian. Okay. We all came up in Austin together years ago, and he is this guy named Mason. And it was really funny. I will say he was killing, but he did do longer than both of them. Mason did a smooth 15.
No.
He talked for a long, long time in a way that was like, Mason, maybe you'll hear this, but it's like, I'll say this if we talk in real life. Like, he was like referencing like this like sketch series that her and Allie did in like 2012, and like was really going into like, I had this vision for sketches and she thought about characters in this kind of way.
That's really funny.
And like really was like diving it. But I will say, getting laughs the entire time.
Yeah,
sure, that's good.
But I will say, I've never seen anyone do like, it felt like watching someone actually do stand up at a wedding in a way that I'm curious to see what Julio's gonna bring to it.
I'm curious to see what he'll bring.
Well, I ran into Julio a couple of days ago, and I was like, you know how sometimes you have a conversation with Julio and you leave with more questions than answers?
Of course.
I was like, so like, are you excited to officiate? And Julio was like, oh yeah, I guess I should do the online thing. I was like, yeah, definitely do that. But then also like, are you excited for the actual officiation? And then he was like, yeah, blah, blah. And I was like, do you want, I mean, this is so stupid. But I was like, I officiated a wedding once. If you want me to send my thing, like if you want just like structure wise, and he was like, that's okay. And I was like, got it. And then I was like, the hardest part is, knowing that your audience is half like your friends and then half family that maybe doesn't, share your sense of humor, share your sensibility. And Julio was just like, oh, I hadn't even thought about that. I was like, what are we talking about here?
Like, Julio starts pulling a bunch of different little rocks out of his pocket.
You haven't thought about that? That's the number one thing. The number one thing with officiating, especially if you're like in our community, is like you have to appeal to both like Aunt Mary and, Amy Zimmer.
I thought it was so funny. We talked on the phone this weekend, and he was like, first of all, I've written nothing. And I was like, no, that's okay. And he's like, no, literally nothing. And I was like, that's okay.
Well, the other thing, he is going to be really good.
Yeah.
But you almost don't want to peek into his process because it's like, you don't want to know what method goes into the madness. Anyway.
So, it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be great.
I'm excited. I forget who I was talking to, somebody who lives in LA who's flying out here for it, and I forget who it was. That's not interesting. Anyway, go ahead.
Deborah Messing?
Yeah, it was Deborah.
Is she really coming?
No.
I could see a world in which I'll cross paths. And then
I would love it if she showed up. She's like harried, like late at coming out of an Uber. She's like,
Fuck,
sorry
sorry.
guys, Jesus.
Keep going.
Sorry, I just flew in from Tel Aviv. Okay.
Oh, she's doing that?
Oh, big time.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that.
Let's do our first segment.
Let's do our first segment. Devon, our first segment is called Straight Shooters, and in this segment, we're going to ask you a series of rapid-fire questions to gauge your familiarity with and complicity in straight culture.
Yep.
It's basically this thing or this other thing, and the only rule is you can't ask any follow-up questions or we'll scream at you.
Got you.
Not that you need to be reminded. George, kick us off.
The Big Bang or the one and only Bo and Yang?
Bo and Yang.
Protecting your data or forgetting your true Veda?
Forgetting your true Veda.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what that means.
You shouldn't have said you don't know what it means. Does the carpet match the drapes or going to the market to buy some grapes?
Going to the market to buy some grapes.
Okay, this one's tough because it actually needs voice work that I don't think I'm qualified to do.
You got this. I believe in you.
It's just like my ear is still unpopped from the flight yesterday, so like I'm not working with like the full register. FKA Twigs or South Park teacher voice. Okay, I can't do it. I want to kill myself.
I think you're doing a great job.
I can't do it, George. I can't do it. I can't do it, George.
Do you want to give it one more
Give
shot?
it one more shot.
Guys, I need to listen to it. Guys, I just have to listen to it. If anyone could, okay, here's what's gonna happen. Here's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, we'll put it in
FKA
post.
Twigs or okay, kids, and then you put it in post.
Okay.
Because this is
But say what it is.
okay, kids.
Okay.
And I wrote this on the train.
Okay.
Thinking, when the cameras are on, maybe something
You'll
will come
find
out.
it. Yeah.
And then I said, I've never found something when the cameras are on.
Fair enough.
If I can't find it secretly in private,
It's gone.
can't find it when the cameras are on.
Fair enough.
Okay. And that's
Well, you
that
do
one.
have to choose.
I'm gonna go FKA Twigs.
Wow. The coward's choice. You didn't want to do the okay kids either.
No, I really didn't.
Okay.
Also, didn't really grow up watching South Park.
This is the second time.
This is
we've
the
talked
second
about
time
this
we've talked
today.
about I also didn't grow up watching South Park. Okay.
And I did.
Denim on denim or bend it like Beckham?
Ooh.
Denim on denim.
Okay. This one's really hard. J Street Metrotech or Old King Wenceslas?
Oh, that's good.
I've got to go J Street.
Real politic or fake plastic trees?
Real politic.
Okay. Ranked choice voting or stank face emoting?
Stank face emoting.
Wow.
Wow.
Is fake plastic trees Radiohead?
Honey, you're the one that wrote it.
It's one. Do you not? Is it not?
No, that was never mind. I
Is
guess
it-
I'm not supposed to say, but I was. Yeah, go ahead.
Is that not a
I think it
recognizable?
is.
I think it's Radiohead.
But I don't know.
Okay,
And
whatever.
now you're
It sounds like none of us know.
No, we don't know.
implicating me and you're a straight shooter.
To me, when something is just like the I've known that phrase since I was like 12, and it's because it's an album title.
I mean,
What?
do you Google it right this second?
No. Okay,
No.
we have to rank Devon's performance on a scale of 0 to 1,000 doves.
Here's what I will say.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we were really experimenting today.
Definitely. I mean,
And-
I don't even know what half the things I said mean.
Okay, cool. I'm glad we're in the same boat.
Because we felt so comfortable with you being here.
Yes, that's right.
And we just knew that you'd crush it. So I'm going to go ahead and say that you get 999 doves.
What?
Because you were an amazing recipient of our fucking bullshit.
Now that's interesting. I actually
Disagree?
have to disagree.
Please.
I actually think, Devon, you're sitting there sort of like cool guy. There's like a sort
you.
of cool guy
appreciate
energy. You're kind of like looking at us like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Like, even when Sam did the South Park thing, you're not showing the vulnerability of attempting to say, okay, kids. You're sort of just
I'm
like,
being removed.
you're
too
being
cool for it.
removed. Yeah.
Being aloof.
And
Wow.
then it makes us feel exposed and
Oh,
naked.
I see.
Wow.
And so I would say, but however, I think you did pretty good. So I think
But
I'm
don't
gonna.
you think he deserves to be rewarded for playing and winning a power game?
Did he?
For
I see.
humiliating us
Okay,
on our
you're
own
right. You're right.
show?
So you humiliate us on our own show,
And that is what
and
I
that
came
is
here to
winning,
do.
and that is winning.
That is.
Okay, so I guess I would say it's a solid 870,
Wow.
and that's my final answer. So the average of that is 930.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm happy with that.
So that's pretty good. That's an A minus. That's a
really
high
good.
A minus, actually.
Better than I did in school normally.
I don't believe that. Were you not a good student?
I was a decent. I didn't care that much. I don't know if you guys related. I take you for being a really good student. You do seem like you made really good grades. Sam,
I was a good student.
Sam was a good student.
I could see. I see it for you guys.
Do you remember one time? We can take this out if it's easy to identify the person. One time, Sam found out someone we know got C's in high school.
Yeah.
And Sam was literally like, I mean, can you imagine getting C's in high school?
But it's like someone whose like whole thing is being like super silly and goofy. And so when I found out they got C's in high school, I was like, oh, you're not
You're not
playing with the form. You're like,
You're just dumb.
You're just kind of a dumb person.
No, this was I remember because and it really like brought this person down in your estimation
kind of wrecked me
because you were like because Sam thought this is like this person's like Andy Kaufman-esque, like so smart that he's like kind of his silliness and his whimsical humor is like making fun of the human condition. And then after Sam found out that this person got C's in high school, he was like, oh wait, so you're just kind of like a doofus.
Well, but to be fair, I bet you Andy Kaufman got C's in high school as well.
So this is interesting. Right. So there's two ways you can get C's in high school. Right. Either you're like not made for the American educational system and you're like such a genius that you get C's.
Happens all the time.
Or you're literally like smoking weed.
Yeah, or you just like, I don't know that I got, no, I think I probably got a C in calculus. That was never the life for me. But I will say with me in high school, I was pretty much I was like a mid B to like a low A student, but it was genuinely like, I don't know if y'all clearly didn't feel this way, but I genuinely was like, I think I'm going to be okay one way or another. I really just had a belief that I was like, I don't know that I'm like, I'm not made for academia. I can make it through school. I like got through grad school. Like I was like, I can do all this stuff, but I was like, I just don't think that any of what I'm learning right now is like, I don't think it's going to like, really influence where I go.
I felt that way once I was in college.
Sure.
In high school, I was like, the pressure's on. Like, you got to get good grades to get into college, whatever.
I wish I was like that.
But once I was in college, I was like, this is all a victory lap.
Yeah, I was like, what are we doing?
I would even say
I'll learn enough of it.
Yeah,
but I just
check my grades.
I was just like, I'm not going to stress myself. I was like, I'll do fine in life somehow.
Yeah.
I would even say I was at my best and most hardworking in probably like legitimately 6th grade. And then after that, it's almost like you want to see how little you can do while maintaining the status of a good student. Like I was like, oh, okay. So if I study a half hour less, I'm basically still getting an A or an A minus. Like, and how what is the equation where I can still basically have the reputation of being smart, the reputation of being a good student without going above and beyond? And I would say I'm still doing that today.
God bless.
Well, you're good at it.
Thanks.
We always know that's the difference, is that he can perform like the intelligence like spot on. Like if asked to give a presentation about a topic he doesn't know right now, he could do it.
Wow.
And like I have to like sit with it for a while.
I can... Yeah. Here's what I can do. I can actually...
That's how we got into the Comedy Central program.
Literally.
It's for people like us.
It kind of is.
I would say I can successfully bullshit the personality of someone who doesn't bullshit.
I mean, that's...
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, that's
layers.
Maybe one of the greatest gifts anyone could be given.
Like, I can actually go enter a room and my entire performance is that of someone who's like, let's cut the crap here. But I'm unprepared and don't know what I'm talking about.
That's incredible because I think I'm pretty good at bullshitting, but I do think that people would be
people
like,
see through you.
People would be like, oh, he's bullshitting, but I do think that I can like charm my way into them being like, oh, but it's kind of sweet that he's like bullshitting his way through this. But you're actually like, you can act as if you really knew what you were talking about.
At my best, not always, but I do think when I'm really focused, I can. Right?
Yeah, I think you can.
Thanks.
Whoa. That's like some like catch me if you can shit.
Yes. Yeah, well, but it's like never with things that matter. Like,
sure.
Because actually, when I'm in the presence of someone who legitimately has more power than me, I crack under the pressure.
Yeah. It takes me like a long time of being like above someone intellectually to be like, oh, I'm above you intellectually. Like it takes me like 6 months. Because then I'm like, what if the last 3 months was a fluke? Like, and they're actually still better.
And
than
they catch up to me.
Yeah.
Should we get into our topic?
I think we should. Devon, what topic have you brought for us today?
The topic that I brought today was fantasy sports. That's my straight topic.
Fantasy sports.
Yes.
One
One of the straightest things in the world to me.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's like sometimes there are these topics that are so straight that I almost don't know what to say about them because it's so self-evident that it's like the only people who would play fantasy sports are a very specific kind of, I would say, physically abusive.
Well, I want you to fill us in on like your history with fantasy sports.
Yeah, so I grew up in Texas. I went to the high school where they shot Friday Night Lights.
Ooh.
And so it's like the TV show, not the movie.
Okay,
So
that's
did
interesting.
Did you ever see the TV show?
You know,
I didn't see
I
either.
didn't, but I know about Coach
Taylor.
and I know Connie Britton. Right?
Masterful performance.
Yes.
Beautiful exhibit of love on television.
Yes.
It was really nice.
And I know that it means a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I tried to watch it once.
Yeah.
It just didn't click.
Didn't resonate with you?
No.
Here's what I'll say about Friday Night Lights. Something extremely foreign to me as someone who doesn't have American parents is the idea that high school sports matter. Like it is so, and I'm not saying that in a, I'm better than that way or anything.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, it's like a cultural thing I don't get. Like I cannot imagine my parents watching me play a sport in high school and being like, this, he better do well here.
Whoa.
It just, because it was so much about academics and everything else was a distraction. I don't even think they knew that the college system, for example, rewarded athletics. Like, I don't think they knew that I could have gotten a scholarship, let's say, if I was good at a sport. I just don't think that was like in their world. And so it just was something that was so foreign to me. Like, I remember when we lived in America, I was like on the swim team. I was not very good. And they would like come to the meets and other parents would be like trembling, like writing down their kids' stats. And my parents would just be fully reading a magazine, like not
Like,
caring.
this is just like some little stuff he does on the side. And
It's like a favor they're doing for me that they're taking. So that is why I have never been able to like get on board with the college or high school sports movie. But you grew up in Texas. You went to the high school from Friday Night Lights.
I did. So all that to say, like, I really grew up like seeped in some of the straightest culture that's available to us. And I played high school football. And so like, I think I just was setting myself on a path. I didn't know that I wanted to be an artist. I didn't know I wanted to be a creative. And not because like it was something that was told to me was like inaccessible. It genuinely just like didn't occur to me because no one that I was around did that at all. And so like I was kind of just like, all right, I guess I'll like go to college and then just like get a cubicle job. And like that's what I did. I graduated from college. I like got this like job in the sale, like generating leads for a sales department. And that was my first experience like doing fantasy football. And somehow I ended up in like 6 different fantasy football leagues when I was like working at this sales office.
And so were they with your colleagues?
They were with like colleagues. And then by that point, I hadn't even started comedy yet. So yeah, I guess it just would have been like guys I went to high school and college with, and then like
in Austin,
I went to college right outside Austin, like probably like 40 minutes outside of town. And yeah, my first job was at the sales place, which was in Austin. And yeah, I just was playing. I would be on like 4 different fantasy football teams, which is like genuinely something that you have to like. It's a thing you have to adjust all the time because like guys are constantly like you have to account for injuries, and so like if a guy gets hurt playing football, which happens
in the real world,
do you guys what is your familiarity with fantasy football?
I think I know how it works.
Okay,
I mean it has been explained to me both by guests on this podcast and by people in my real life.
Because I'm kind of assuming that you're coming in with knowledge, but that might
you pick players from any team.
So there are. But you are part of when you're in a fantasy league.
Yes.
How many people are in the entire fantasy league?
Depends.
Okay.
That can vary.
And you're making your own team. You're not like in charge of the Cowboys.
You're not in charge of the Cowboys. You are drafting individual players.
Okay.
You're in charge of the Georges.
I see.
Yes, exactly. Where it could literally, yes, if they were doing comedians, they could be like, it could be every comedian in New York City. And it could be like, all right, there's literally like guys whose job it is to like do fantasy projections for like whose supposed to score the most points based on what they did last year, and the points are like it could be like how many touchdowns they catch. Every touchdown's worth this many points. Every like time they catch a pass, that's worth a certain amount of points.
But then explain to me how the real world relates to the fantasy world.
Because it's what happens in the game happens in your fantasy.
Yes.
Even though the people playing are in a different team.
Well, but you can draft players from any team.
Yes.
In the entire. So it's like, you could get this guy from the Cowboys, this guy from the Giants, this guy from the Jets, and that constitutes your team.
Right.
And their performance adds up to points, which is how you win the game.
It's like if you die in the game, you die in real life.
No, totally. But I guess my question is more like, let's say one of your players in the real world wins against one of your other players.
It doesn't matter. Wins and losses don't really matter. It's only statistics.
Oh, okay.
It's only like rushing yards, passing yards.
I see.
For basketball, 3-point shots made, like total points, rebounds, like only counting statistics go towards, the actual wins and losses don't matter at all.
So it's like fan fiction.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because it's like Draco and Harry fucking is the same. You're having the characters.
This is way cooler. Well, no, because it is like based on. It's not fiction. Like it is based on like the actual.
No, totally. but then the teams are fiction.
Yes,
it's in the
sure.
same.
The teams are all made up. The teams are all created. I hear what you're saying.
I think
the characters are real in the same way that Harry Potter is real.
But I think that's where
but Harry Potter's not real.
No, Devon, he's real.
It's like confusing because you're just picking people to monitor their stats.
Yes,
and like I don't see the joy.
And I would agree with you.
This is my big question. Yes. I'm like, where does the creativity come in?
Where does the narrative come in?
And where does the narrative come in?
I don't know that it exists. I think that's why it's such a straight activity.
Yeah.
There's no story. There's no whimsy. It is all like, it's just numbers and like facts. There is no...
Right.
And it's also like, it doesn't exist.
It's also gambling. Like it is literally like...
This ties into gambling very, very closely.
It is tracking what has already happened and then guessing based on that what could happen.
Yes.
I have something to ask.
Go ahead.
Gambling related.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know any gay guys who are like addicted to gambling?
Okay, this is a really good question.
Because I've never met a single gay guy who's like, I actually had a gambling addiction. Whereas like in the straight community, it's like seems relatively normal.
It's very normal.
I've seen people like run into real issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where I like, especially now that you can just do it on your phone and now that it's like gamified, I know several people who I've seen like get seriously addicted to gambling. Like
that's wild.
Quite a few comedians, actually.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
This is very common. I won't say his name, but I went to a World Series game with someone that I'm friends with, and he was betting on balls and strikes. He was literally betting like pitch by pitch.
Whoa.
Like, I think this pitch will be a ball. This pitch will be like real like crackhead behavior. It's really concerning. I know a lot of guys who are addicted to gambling. That's big into straight called. Damn, that's something we could have talked about.
No, that's like
sports gambling.
This is really like I'm trying to think like what I'm trying to think. Just thinking just in broad stereotypes. What kind of gay guy would get into gambling?
I really because like I remember like going to a casino for the first time and being like, okay, like maybe this will hit. Like I remember when I had my first 2 beers, I was like, oh, this is clicking. I see why people lose their lives to this.
Whoa.
Like I'm all in.
Okay.
Well, here's what I'm picturing.
But then when I went gambling, I was like, I feel nothing. I'm so bored. I need to get out of here.
Here's what I'm picturing. Gay guy, really intense facelift, really intense hair plugs, kind of a leather blazer in a casino. He's doing just the slots.
Sure.
And he's drinking a, bourbon Manhattan.
Oh.
Yeah, I see that.
You think this is a Southern man?
I would say Southern. Yeah, so I was about to say New Orleans, but that's not quite it. I could see him being Southern. I could also see it being more of a what's the New Jersey? Oh my God, what's New Jersey? Atlantic City, more of an Atlantic City type vibe. Someone from like a smaller town in New Jersey or Pennsylvania or something like that.
That really checks
He's
out.
like the one gay guy in the town, and then his
But he's beloved in the town in the way that I'm imagining it.
Yeah, he's beloved in the town.
Terry.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like
and he's always wearing a fun shirt.
Yes.
Fun floral shirt. But then his Terry solo weekend is like going to Atlantic City and hitting the slots.
You've painted a picture.
I painted a picture. I mean, you've definitely made a narrative, but I'm still unclear on whether he's real.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I've never known him.
Like Harry Potter.
Okay, suddenly on his side.
Like
I'm just like I could see this man existing, but like I've never come across him in my.
I've never seen him
in my world.
I think like he needs his own A24 movie. Like I think this really could be something.
It's
very Sean Baker.
Movie?
Calling Sean Baker a gay guy with a burgundy leather blazer.
Actually, not A24, neon.
Oh, it needs to be neon.
Oh, this is going to go ahead and be a neon film.
Let's go ahead and get it on neon.
One of the running jokes in this pod that no one cares about is us being like, no, that's not A24, that's neon.
That's very funny. Have you created a delineation as to what?
Well, I just think people use. First of all, I just want to say to all our friends at A24, we support you.
We love your work,
and we literally love your work.
To have a project.
And we would love to be part of your work.
Yeah.
But I think it started when, our friend Theta's movie, Stress Positions, was neon.
Yeah.
And neon has also won the Palme d'Or the last 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it sort of is the dark horse.
Was that a neon movie?
Yeah. Titan was a Titan movie.
That's me and my girlfriend. That's one of our favorite things to do. Just go, Titan.
Oh my God, you do that.
Yeah.
See, and this is Comedy Central creators. Class of 2020.
You guys learned this.
That
was like that was art school for Comedy Central Creators Program.
Oh God.
Okay. So you said something very interesting when we were off mic, which is at some point you had the realization that you don't have to participate in fantasy sports.
It was really like it was like God spoke to me. It was truly at this point I had moved on. I was at a different job. I was truly in maybe 3 different fantasy football leagues, and I was like. It was taking up so much of my time where it's like, again, like these guys are getting injured all the time. If a guy gets injured and you don't replace him on your team, then that's just 0 points. Like once his team plays, if you've missed inserting him or like removing him from your lineup, you're losing all those points. So stuff like that was happening to me. I was having to keep up with like different blogs and be like, oh, this guy's injured. Oh, I need to pick up this other wide receiver from this team. Oh, I got to try to orchestrate a trade. There's so many different levers that I was pulling that like genuinely I was like in the bathroom, like pissed off about the fact that I was also losing. I was losing all the time. And I was thinking about it constantly. And one day I was like, oh, what if I just didn't do this? And I really can't stress enough how straight of a culture that I like grew up with, that like it seemed really novel to me that I like didn't have to participate. And ever since then, that was probably 2016 or something
when
like
Trump
that.
was elected.
Yeah, when Trump was elected.
A lot of things changed.
That was a turning point. I watched an episode of Chef's Table.
Mm-hmm.
I watched an episode of Chef's Table about Kwame, the Tatiana guy. And who, like, I know, shout out to Kwame if you're...
brag.
Whatever. But, like, it was basically, he was talking about, like, he was selling drugs, and he basically saw the way that the story is told is he was selling drugs, and he saw Barack Obama get elected, and he was like, I'm putting this shit behind me. It's time to go buy some cilantro.
That is so funny. And that was you with Trump and
that was me
football.
with Trump and fantasy football. I saw him get elected, and I said, I need to distance myself from this type of culture.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, do you feel sort of an ostracization after being...
Not at all, especially not since moving to New York City. All my like New York City even my like New York City straight friends are always like watching like art house Japanese films. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't.
Yeah, they should do letterbox fantasy football where you're like collecting directors and little known character actors from the 80s.
Unfortunately, that's probably coming. You know what I'm saying? Like someone's probably trying to configure something like that right now. But
Anna de Armas just got injured.
If she gets hurt in the movie, then she gets.
Honestly, it might be something even darker, which is like sort of like straight guys that listen to the Town podcast and read Hollywood Reporter and like read Variety, doing fantasy football, but for studios. And they're like,
not to be this is literally what like agents and managers do for their
that's true. Yeah.
Their clients.
Genuinely.
Damn.
They just get like real money when it works out.
When it hits.
I do think what you're saying about like compulsory participation is a big part of straight culture. Absolutely. And I actually think that's something that is very alienating if you are like growing up and you feel different. It's like the idea that I could leave the soccer team is it's like such a statement. It's basically like saying I am gay. And it's like I guess what it is not doing something feels like more of a statement than doing it, when in fact it should be the other way around. Everything should be opt-in.
I'm trying to think on like sometimes it's easier to just be gay because you're like, I'm not doing that because I'm gay. Like
100%.
Where you're like
100% agree.
Oh God. When I was a mover, the guys I would work with would get so like, there was one guy in particular who was like, I watched his mood go from like cheery.
100% disagree. Sorry, for anyone watching, I'm holding a card.
I watched this man's mood change like from happy to sad based on fantasy football alone.
This is what I'm talking about.
And he was like, and not like, oh, I'm sad, like don't worry about me. Like I'm gonna jump in front of a car. Like he was like he was like snipping at us.
That's the gambling of it all. Like that, because that is gambler behavior.
Yeah. And there is money. There's a pot at the end that everybody like collects on whatever. Usually it's like, I don't know, $1,000 or something like that you can. It's not nothing. It's not nothing. But like, yeah, there really was such a culture of like, this is just what every single man around you is doing. That like, once I've never felt more free than when I decided to stop doing it. And still to this day, every year people still they're like, hey man, we got an extra spot in the league. Would you like? No.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. Keep that away from me.
Not while Angelica is open.
I gotta go watch Titan. I gotta go watch an afternoon showing of Titan.
Yeah.
It's in 35 millimeter.
It's in 35 millimeter. Yeah, it's just you and like
reach out if you ever hear of Metrograph closing.
Yeah. Have you ever quit something way after you wanted to? Like, have you ever quit something and had such a sense of relief?
I'm trying to think.
I have one.
You have one? Go ahead.
This is when I was like a kid. It was just like compulsory that you had to like play an instrument. And of course, if I had it my way, I would have played a cool instrument like guitar, but that was just like not part of the narrative that I was part of.
So what did you play?
And so I had to play like piano, but I didn't practice literally at all. And so I would have to just once a week go into this room at this like dingy music school and be berated by this guy with a mustache that was like, so once again, you're not practicing. And I just did that for literally like 5 years. And then at some point I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. My parents were like, oh, great. Like, we don't want to pay for it anymore.
See, I had almost the opposite where like I was on swim team since like 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I hated it. I was bad at it. I like just hated getting in the water. Like
it's one of the big parts of it.
Yeah,
the water's always cold. I'm not.
The water's always cold.
Like your hair is fried, your skin is dry. Like I was like, this fucking sucks. And then when I was like 15, one day I was like, wait, I'm really good at swimming. Like now I like it, but it took 10 years.
Oh.
And so I almost learned the opposite lesson of like, just don't
sticking
quit.
It out.
Yeah. Stick through it for a decade, to be said and then you'll like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I'm like, God, those are my fondest memories.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's weird.
Hey, so if you don't like something right now and you're listening to this podcast, do it for a long time. Continue on that path for quite some time and you'll find
it's like us with podcasting. Do you feel like, for me, the most compelling part about sports is like the personal stories of the athletes. Like one of the reasons I like tennis is because it's individual athletes and it's like, I'm crying if Coco Gauff is winning. Like that is different than feeling like an allegiance to the Yankees or something. But I feel like what's sort of joyless about fantasy football is just like everyone is just a collection of stats.
Yes.
Like, would you ever, when you're in a league, I guess my question is like, would you ever choose someone for non-numbers reasons, like because you really like you think they have like an inspirational story, even if they're not doing well?
No. No, not an inspirational story alone. I feel like people do sometimes make decisions over their because of their allegiances.
Okay.
Like that, like, you know what I mean? If like I am a Yankees fan, I'm going to take this one guy, even if he's not the best guy, just because I want a guy from the Yankees to be. I think that happens.
Okay,
but it's not like, oh, this man's doing really impressive work in the community.
Totally.
Or like I don't know.
He's really good on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. Or I like the songs that he makes.
He has great fashion sense.
Yeah, it's not that. I wish it could be.
But I think that's where the gay and straight.
Okay, I have a theory based on this.
Yeah.
Tennis, gay.
Yeah.
Football, straight.
Incredibly.
Basketball, bisexual. There's a lot of numbers and stats,
Yeah.
but there's also a lot of personalities and narratives.
Oh, yes. Agreed.
Yes, I also think that football, but legitimately, because of the helmets, becomes so much more impersonal.
Yeah, it's
Of course.
Every other
You
sport,
can't
it's
see
like,
their faces.
yeah, you see.
wow, that is such a good point.
Yeah, like so, and I think the NFL just wow, man. I think that I moved to New York City, and I think that I'm removed from this version of myself, and then I get on mic and I start talking. And I'm like, no, it's still really in there. I guess I still do think about this stuff, but I feel like the NFL as a organization is also trying to promote their league, whereas like the NBA is trying to promote like, look at these guys that we have.
Oh, sure.
The NFL is trying to be like, we just want you watching the games and we want you caring about the teams. The NBA and certainly tennis is being like, look at our personalities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at these look at this guy. He's got all these cool pants that he wears. Look at it. Watch him walk down the runway. Or not the runway, the tunnel. They've got like
the tunnel of it all
tunnel fashion
is crazy. And with the WNBA too. Now the girls are getting in on the action.
The girls are getting fits off.
So here's a question. Where does baseball fit in? Because I also do feel like baseball is personality driven, but also
baseball, football, and similar buckets.
Similar? Okay.
Both, I would say, incredibly straight sports.
Yeah.
The guy, it's also like there's a flamboyance in basketball. There's like you know what I'm saying? There's a style. There's like a flair that I think is certainly not embraced in basketball, or I'm sorry, in baseball or football. I think any guys that like have flair, they're trying to like turn that flair down. They're trying to like move away, especially in baseball. Baseball is maybe the straightest sport of them all.
Baseball's a weird one. Mm-hmm. And partially it is because of their thick, juicy asses.
Yeah.
Where it's like, what is going on here?
Well, it's not just that. It's also
we've also never had a baseball player come out.
Not one? I believe you.
Not that I know of. There's been a good handful of football players that have come out. There's been a couple basketball players, although I don't know, these guys, I'm like, some of these guys, be yourself.
Was
brother.
that play
My brother in Christ, be yourself.
Did you see that play about the gay baseball player?
I did not see it, but
you know
it had Jesse Williams in it.
Jesse Williams. So I saw it with my mom. And
full nudity, right?
Not only full nudity, but someone told me that they all take Viagra.
They all, I've seen the pics.
The pics are is not what a soft dick looks like.
Interesting.
I mean, it is.
I'm like, you don't want to be hard on stage.
I'm telling you, it is crazy.
Interesting. So
my mom literally when he whipped it out,
pointed down.
My mom turned to me. I was like, please look ahead. Please look ahead. Anyway, I bring it up just because I was trying to remember if that's based on a true story.
Is it about a coming out story in baseball?
Yes, yeah, that's what it is. And it's like it's in fact I think what happens is either he's outed or he comes out, and then it's about like the fallout from that, and the reason the nudity is like quote unquote necessary is because it's like, okay, what's it like now in the locker rooms when all these guys know that he's gay?
Sees their dicks.
It's how he sees it.
Of course.
I will say, interesting, like metatextually, it's interesting because the gay character has the biggest dick. Like you are seeing all of them, and he has the biggest dick, but it's unclear if that's something you should be like noticing or not.
Also, do you think that was part of the casting decision?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
You think he was like...
No, but he's also the biggest star. Like, he's a TV star, whereas the other ones are... Actually... Anyway, whatever. It's like...
No, let's get into the... You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about who's the most famous.
Anyway. My point... But yes, I agree that baseball is very straight, and to your point, it has all these gay elements, but they almost the A, juicy asses, B, the costuming is so like circusy.
Well, and they're all just like chill guys.
They're mostly like sitting around. They're mostly like sitting around. Yeah. There's something very kind of swinging is much gayer than
and
like
the mustache culture.
Yeah.
there.
A lot of mustaches happening.
George, off mic, you mentioned
Uh-huh.
that sometimes you wish you could opt out of the obligatory drag race.
Yes, and I
viewings.
actually, well, I was just trying to relate to, obviously Devon's so different from
Obviously,
us.
now that the mics are on, you don't believe this.
Devon was saying, he felt so liberated when he opted out of fantasy sports. And I was like, what are gay equivalents? Like, I think for many people, not for me, but let's say I was like a super roided out gym gay.
Mm-hmm.
I think for that person, maybe the equivalent would be like, oh my God, I could just not do this to my body. Like I could just wake up one day and like not be counting macros, tracking macros, what it's called, like tracking my macros all day
right to me.
long.
None
like,
of us are doing that.
I don't need to like be, intermittent fasting. I could just literally like go with my body.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I was saying the equivalent of that when Drag Race is bad, which currently I'm actually in an okay place with it. I'm like, damn, I wish I could stop watching this.
Yeah. I do sometimes feel it with Drag Race until do you ever feel like when you meet a new straight guy, you are like, oh, I can't talk to you in the same way? Because when I meet like a gay guy, like just at random, I'm sort of like, well, at least I can talk to you about Drag Race.
Well, here's what I'll say to that is like, I think I still do follow sports. I am just not participating in the fantasy element of them. And so like that is a shorthand that is like, that is a thing that I'm always really, you could meet a man that you have nothing else in common with and that you don't even like.
Yeah.
But you can at least be like, so the Knicks, right?
Yeah. And you could talk to them about Addison Rae.
That's true. That's true.
Wait, okay. And I'm sorry for how this is. Addison Rae, is she brand new? Is she one of those girls because she really feels like she came from absolute nowhere. And I'm realizing now that I thought she was one of the D'Amelio sisters.
She's close. She was a TikTok
close. So
dancer.
she
She was one of those TikTok dance girls.
She was a TikTok dance girl.
Cool. Okay, so then I think I am in the right track with the way that I'm thinking about her.
What happened is she was a TikTok dance girl. Meanwhile, keep in mind, she was like 16 at the time.
Right.
She was a TikTok dance girl, got way, way big, super fast during the pandemic.
Doing dances no one's ever seen before.
Yes.
Doing dances that are all just...
Yes, exactly. Like Jimmy Fallon had her on and she was like, okay, and this one is...
it is crazy because there's so many on the internet. You find so many like uber talented dancers who are doing all this insane shit, and the fact that it's just these like white girls going like that shit's I just if I was a real dancer, I can only imagine how that
mad.
And then it's like these, and now they're becoming our like next biggest pop stars.
Yeah.
God bless. I haven't listened to the music. Maybe the music.
Yeah, well, first of all, she is a fourth Mexican, so maybe check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh my God, I didn't realize that I was tearing down a fellow person of color.
She is a fourth Mexican.
Oh my God, I'd like to take that back. Where's my camera? Hey, I'm so sorry to my Latina queen. I would like to apologize for shaming you. I didn't realize that you were with the community. That's on me.
She's been on a journey because she's a TikTok dance girl. Then she put out this EP that was like, had like 1 to 2 songs that you were like, wait a minute.
One of them was produced by Charlie XCX. Like it was that.
And so it's like, wait, is there taste here? What's going on? And it became like sort of an ironic, gay guys would put it on. And then the new songs, people were like, hold on.
Yeah, now it feels like it's transforming into people being like, she's legitimately good.
She's also working with, it seems like she has good taste because she's choosing the right people to work with. Musically, she's going in a sort of like 90s Madonna, Janet, Sade direction.
Everyone's doing Ray of Light,
Sade.
and she's doing
Listen,
Ray of Light.
I'm being pretty generous, but
I would have never said that.
I was like,
I would have never said
whoa.
that.
That's, I mean, if she's got a little of that in there, I'll check out a track or two. It sounds like it's not really. Sounds like that's not really.
She is, like I said, she's as talented as Sade.
That's such a specific one because it's like I've definitely seen girls in pop music who are doing Janet Jackson stuff.
Yes.
Obviously, there's so many people who are doing Madonna stuff. I cannot.
Okay,
Sade's doing such a specific. I've never heard anyone who I'm like they're doing.
I agree, and in my defense, because people are going to really come for me.
Yeah, you are setting yourself up to
So
get attacked.
Sade had this sort of more electronic, like if you listen to Love Deluxe, it's more like electronic, almost like Madonna Ray of Light type sound. That's more what I was referencing. She's not doing like Smooth Operator.
Yeah.
Fair.
Anyway, so and then she's also visually working with a lot of like the very cool fashion-y Interview Magazine people. And so suddenly she goes from TikTok teen to, Britney. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
I think so. I did learn something because I do think I think the version of her that I was thinking about is not that far off from who she actually is, but it sounds like she's like just got a little more taste than the rest of the like TikTok dance girls.
I really think it's a similar narrative to Britney. Like, I think she's both girl next door, but also like has taste and works with the right people.
Yeah, she definitely knows who to work with. And that's the best thing you can have these days.
Damn, you really brought fantasy football in as your topic, and we made you talk about Addison Rae.
No, that was awesome.
Comes full circle.
We kind of needed that. We like talked about sports for so long.
Yeah.
We really needed that.
It was too much. And honestly, I had more fun talking about the pop girl than I did about, because again, it's like, I am straight and that is part of our culture, but it is an element that I hate. I really get that away from me. If you're a straight man, please don't talk to me about that. Don't talk about fantasy football teams. Is it like that for you guys in Drag Race?
No,
does it occupy that same space where you're like, where it's like enough of this?
Okay.
Something that annoys me is when people get overly into Oscars stuff. And I'm guilty of it. I'm not saying I'm not, but like when
a great point.
When it's literally like, we're currently June? When it's June and someone is talking to you about who they think is going to be nominated for Best Actress based on like the blogs they're reading about what's coming out of Cannes.
And I'm like, about a movie that's not going to be available to the public until for 4 months.
Because honestly, actually, there's a pretty big similarity because they're talking about movies they literally haven't seen yet. And it's just stats. And it's you're saying like, oh, this is going to be Amy Adams' year. This is going to be Glenn Close's year. If only.
For her performance in Deliverance.
In Deliverance, yes.
Is that what that movie was called? The horror movie?
Yeah,
the Lee
I think
Daniels
so. Where
horror
she
movie?
like says the N-word?
She doesn't, but she might as well.
Okay. I thought that was the controversy.
Does she? Fuck,
I think she might.
She might. I did watch the film. I'm like, did she say it? She certainly, her essence feels like she would.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it, but the little clips I saw online were pretty fun.
Yeah. But I do think that's my version of that.
I totally get that. And that is, I feel like I'm in that world as well. I don't want to talk about what came out of the fucking film festival circuit.
I'm sick of a film festival circuit.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, just wake me up when I can see the movie.
Yeah.
Also, guess what? Like, I'm not part of that. I'm not at Cannes. I think everyone there should have a great time. And they should, at the after parties, they should be talking about what an amazing performance Julie Delpy gave. But I'm actually in Brooklyn doing freelance work.
I've also been burned so many times where people are like, this is the greatest film I've ever seen. 8 months later, I'm allowed to see it. And I'm like, flop.
Yeah, and I'll be the first ovation conversation.
Oh my god!
We got a 30-minute standing ovation.
That's
it's like, it's also like, no, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
Like nothing. Have you ever wanted to stand up and clap after? I mean, maybe a handful of films have made you, but then even when you feel like it,
it's also peer.
But it's
also peer pressure.
Sure.
This now happens in New York theater. Now everything is getting a standing ovation.
Right.
So you just know the part of the play being over is that you have to stand up, even if you hated it.
Right.
Well, it's like encores.
It's like encores. Oh, you know what else?
I don't care for that either.
I don't care for it.
I don't care for the encore. I'm like, because there's no true encores.
No.
You know what I'm saying? If you want,
it's just part of the set list.
Just do your whole fucking. Just do the set. Just do the set and then leave. I don't like this fake. And then we all gotta be like, dun, and then they come back.
No, the way you can literally look up the set list,
right?
You know what's coming,
and then the encore is
and then
this
the encore is.
It's the same shit with the. See, it's all coming together because that's the straight culture version of that is like post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the exact,
and then people know to wait for them.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, so it's not like a special treat. It's just like, well, this is just what you drew into the playbook.
There used to be magic.
Yeah, literally.
You can still find the magic at the AMC theaters. That's what I've heard.
That's right. By Academy Award winner Nicole Kidman.
Wow.
Who went for the hours. So if you, the flip side of standing ovations is when you hear how many people walked out of something at a at a film festival. Like Titan is a great example. Like there were articles that were like the most walkouts of any film since 2001.
Which
something.
Even I bet you I don't know who the director of Titan was, but I guarantee you that director would be like, fair.
Yeah.
Totally fair. The lady's fucking the car.
I struggled with Titan.
Of course.
Oh, of course.
It's like,
I'll be the first to say it.
Even as the director was making it, they had to have been like, well, this can't be. This is for some people.
Yeah. This is literally one of those movies where everyone was like, this movie will change the way you think about cinema.
Yeah, and people you respect.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? People whose opinions you respect.
My God.
No, we saw it together with Max.
Because I was like, everyone was screaming at me about it. Mm-hmm. And I went and I was like, All right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I guess keep French people weird. Like,
Whatchamacallit is also that was a French director too, right? The Margaret Qualley and Demi Moore.
Oh, the
yeah,
substance.
Substance.
That's a French lady as well, right?
Yes, it is.
A lot of freaky shit
Coralie
going on.
Fargia.
Yes, Coralie Fargia.
I'm not even going to try it. That's sort of an NK situation. Should we do our final set?
Fuck. Wait, I do want you to promote
Yes.
your podcast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, of course. Yes, I've got a podcast. It's called My Favorite Lyrics. We come on and we genuinely just every guest brings a song, and then we kind of do like a lyrical analysis of the song.
That is such a good idea.
We make
That's
fun
really
little jokes
fun.
about it. Yeah.
What if you were to be a guest on your own podcast today? What song would you bring in?
That's a great question. I know what artist I'd probably want to talk about, and that's Big Sean.
Okay,
Big Sean of Ass fame.
we're familiar.
Yeah, of course. I just think I don't know how familiar you guys are with his discography.
I only know the hits.
I know the hits, yeah, because we're the exact right age for the hits
Yeah.
to have been.
Yes. I think his like early part of his career was all built off like doing like straight up like set up punchline jokes or like set up punchline raps. So man, I wish I had more like at hand to like bring, but like an example would be like I don't like the way that you sound, headphones. He was doing, which Nicki Minaj was doing a lot of this as well.
Yeah.
They were very much peers. They were doing that kind of thing at the exact same time. And Nicki Minaj would also be, I'd love to do a Nicki episode.
I mean,
she's got some absolute
Used
classics.
to be
and
here,
bangers.
now you're not. Nair.
There it is. And yes, Big Sean was doing that exact same rap style. So I'd love to get into him.
do you
and
remember when
Nicki.
Ludacris started doing that for a second? And he had that one song where he's like, blowing up, balloon.
Oh, what song was that?
Is that the Austin Powers one? Or like, there were like a few songs that were like really flop right in a row.
This was a style that Big Sean claims to have started.
Really?
This is something that he claims to have popularized.
Wow.
And Nicki Minaj.
I really associated with Nicki Minaj.
Me too.
God, I love Nicki Minaj. You know what? Speaking of Ludacris, my first ever song on my iPod was "What's Your Fantasy."
Wow.
Oh, you're
There was just
freaky little guy.
and I was like, "Well,
You're
I
what,
had
10?
I probably a little older, but I was like, someone on my school bus was singing it. I was like, that is so funny, like Georgia Dome, like that is so funny. And then I had to have it on my iPod, and then I think I was buying legally at the time, so I was like, okay, I have $1, I'm buying that. And then there was like a full week where I just had that, so I had my iPod with me, and I was only listening to "What's Your Fantasy."
That song, like as a child, I was like, no, this is
really?
not to be
Oh
played
my god,
around
I
me.
have such a memory.
like you thought it was too. Like,
Yeah, or like, this
you
is
thought it
Well,
was
you're
gross.
such a goody two shoes.
Yeah, I was a good boy.
Whoa,
Yeah.
was your family really Christian?
No, they were just like, they were like very not classically waspy, not like Connecticut waspy, but
Yeah.
they were like Midwestern waspy.
Okay.
Like
But
it was
so chill. Like your mom is so like such a
but
good
it's like when it
hang.
comes to like sex,
oh sure,
it's really like we don't like that.
I have a memory of buying the Ludacris album "Chicken and Beer" at Sam Goody or whatever,
Yeah.
and because it had a parental advisory thing, they had to call my mom in,
Mhm.
and she was like, I don't know who this artist is. Like, what's the deal? Like, why do you need my permission?" And the guy at the counter was like, I mean, I don't know. It can't be that bad. It's about chicken and beer. And she was like, all right. And then she like let me buy it.
Nasty lyrics on there.
Yeah, they really were.
Did your parents care about that kind of thing? Did they care about what you were
No, I mean,
listening to? My parents
certainly
were
with
very
music,
Christian.
they did not care at
Okay.
all. I would say with film, they did. Like if something was rated R and I was like 9, I don't think they would let me.
Sure.
Yeah, mine cared about movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Both my parents really cared about music.
Really?
Texas, very Christian. So like I couldn't have any, they wouldn't buy me any albums with the parental advisory sticker, which is
Really?
why the first album that I wanted, I want to say it was College Dropout, Kanye West. Definitely had the sticker on there. So the first album that I actually received was Nick Cannon's self-titled LP.
Oh no.
Featuring the hit single Gigolo by, you guessed it, R. Kelly.
Oh Oh no!
That's tough.
It's the first. That was the first, and I did really like that song, and that was the reason that I bought the album. Back when you had to do that, you're like, I want to listen to this one song, so like I guess I got to pay $15.99. That's the first album I ever owned. Nick Cannon's album.
That is wild.
He was rapping.
Never forget.
He was rapping.
Sheesh. Okay, now I feel that we should do our final seg. Okay, Devon, our final segment is called Shoutouts, and in this segment we pay homage to the grand straight tradition of the radio shoutout, shouting out anything that we enjoy, people, places, things, ideas.
And we think of them on the spot.
And we think of them on the spot, which is part of the struggle.
Yes, the struggle.
Okay.
The struggle is real, as I always say.
Folks.
Sorry. We're being so unprofessional today. It's because Sam's getting married.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay, no, it's going to come to me. It's going to come to me.
Okay, I have one.
Okay, go.
What's up, freaks, losers, and especially perverts? This is for you. I'm going to give a huge shout out to office parties. I have just been working a job for like a year and a half, and we never had one party the whole time. So I only knew people in the context of work. And I said, okay, I guess we're all like this. This is what we are. One party, I'm saying, everybody's so fun. I'm saying, people get a little inappropriate. I say, thank God. This whole time I was like, enough with HR. And then this party, people are getting a little bit weird. And I say, thank God this job is over, because some of these things would lead to some issues.
Wow.
But through that, I felt very comfortable. And I said, this is, I see the full humanity of these people. And I feel that I was almost robbed of seeing them as people and not as little data sets until this moment. So shout out to office parties. Yes, you're going to make some mistakes, but that's part of it. It's to understand each other on a human level. Enjoy it. XOXO, Sam. Woo!
What's up, freaks and losers? I want to give a shout out to the feeling of being invited to something, saying no, seeing the people do that something, and being offended you're not there, despite the fact that you yourself said no to the invite. I actually think this is one of those so deeply human feelings that is invigorating because it reminds you of your own humanity. It's like, we're talking about AI, folks. AI cannot feel that feeling. The feeling of literally saying no to something and still being like, why did they do it without me? That is actually the core of human nature. And we have to really lean into those, especially human feelings, when we create art in the future. Otherwise, the machines are going to win.
Wow.
Please hang up and try again.
Humanity was running through both of our shout-outs in a deep way.
Wow. That was really... and that was just off the dome.
Yeah.
Well, this just happened to me, actually, that feeling.
Oh, I see.
Last night, I was, people I knew were hanging out. They're like, can you come? I said no, because I had work to do. Saw them posting about it, saying, well, why the hell are you there without me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why is it fun?
Yeah.
If I wasn't going to be there, you guys should just be sitting there kind of solemnly.
You should be in mourning.
Yes, just kind of being like, well, man, this sure could be better.
Okay, Devon, whenever you're ready.
Fuck. You know what? I spent my whole time trying to think about what I was going to talk about, but then I kind of got enraptured by what y'all were talking about. I was really engrossed in the whole...
No, we have had so many, especially me. Sometimes it will just not come to me, and then everyone's sitting there awkwardly.
That's not true. I've had just as many flops.
Thank you, Sam. But you are pushing it.
No, you're right. No, you're right. What's up, freaks and losers? I'd like to say, hey, shout out to every single Uber driver who carries on a conversation the entire time that we are in the vehicle. I'd like to know what it is, but, oftentimes we don't speak the same language, so I've just got to pick up on the cues that you're sending out verbally. And sometimes you seem like you're in a fight with your wife, and I like to know about that. I like to know about what's going on with you. Weigh me in, let me know a little bit about what you got going on. Let's talk about it together. Whatever Uber driver takes me home after this, let's talk. Talk. Let's get together. Thanks. That's all I have to say today. My name's Devon. Thanks.
Wow.
Please hang up
Wow. Well, Devon, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks for it's been nice.
And once again, please tell our listeners where they can find you.
You can find me at Internet Devon on whatever platform you find people on. And then also My Favorite Lyrics Pod. Go listen. We started it all indie. We didn't do it with a network or anything. So we're like building it from the ground up. So go check it out. We've got a lot of very fun episodes, and you guys are welcome to come.
Would love to.
Anytime.
And networks are good too, just FYI.
And shout out to the good people at Big Money Players.
I don't want anyone to think we're pro indie.
Yeah, we're
in
pro
any way.
network here.
We're pro network. Pro network. The bigger the better. Conglomerates, love them.
Love them.
Love them. Okay.
Bye.
StraightioLab is a production by Will Ferrell's Big Money Players Network and iHeart Podcasts.
Created and hosted by George Civeris and Sam Taggart.
Executive produced by Will Ferrell, Han Sani, and Olivia Aguilar.
Co-produced by Bei Wang.
Edited and engineered by Adam Avalos.
Artwork by Michael Fales and Matt Grubb.
Theme music by Ben Kling.